is rebuking the base, like almost like spitting in their face. Like they are asking for it. He campaigned on it. He puts Bongino and Cash in there, which might be the stupidest thing in the history of the world. Like, why would you put the two guys that have nonstop pounded the pavement talking about how we're going to expose this Epstein thing, and the second they get in there, like,
Trump doesn't pick his own cabinet. Come on, get out of here, guys. This is not how the country works. Can we start waking up to that? I mean, are you serious? But anyway, in this clip, this is MSNBC Morning Joe is going to be gleefully discussing how the podcast bros such as Andrew Schulz and Joe Rogan are done with MAGA and they're leaving Trump. You know, the left is, you know what? I still have to unfortunately say the left. We do have real problems and real things that we could discuss where this administration is taking things far. And I say this administration because we don't live in a dictatorship and there's not only one person making the decisions. Although one person I don't see is J.D. Vance. Anyway, but the left always wants to make it about Trump. Ooh, Trump losing. Damn, Trump winning. Trump losing. Damn, Trump. How about we look at the situation? So that's why they still have TDS, because everything begins and ends with Donald Trump. No, the Epstein case is huge because we have compromised elected officials. And are they still being compromised to this day? I would say yes, allegedly, but anyway. So in this clip, Morning Joe's going to get excited over something that's not happening about Andrew Schulz and Joe Rogan.
You better shut the up.
Yeah, to shut him up.
Go on Rogan, lie. Like, it is a very peculiar thing. It worked in that I think it moved any of the smoke off of Trump, because at least for me, I was like, there's no way that he's involved if he's putting Bongino and Cash in who have campaigned on exposing it. Like, why would you hire those guys or appoint those guys, right? So I'm like, he can't be.
Because when you get in, you find out who's actually the handlers of our government, and nobody's going to expose it. What?
But the fact that he will not touch this, and then this last week, him doing the distractions,
bro,
dropping the MLK file. Like, who asked for the MLK file?
Yeah,
the second he started talking about Obama, I was like, oh, he's guilty.
Yeah.
Also, like, why are you talking about Obama and treason? You got a guy who has sex with teenagers that you are protecting.
The Epstein stuff is so crazy because when Kash Patel was on here and he was like, there's nothing. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I didn't even know what to say. My thought was, and people are like, why didn't you push back more? My thought was like, I'm just going to put this out there and let the internet do its work. Because there's nothing I can. The guy's saying there's no tapes, there's no video. That doesn't make any sense. Everyone knows it doesn't make any sense. The whole thing was nuts. And then he's like, well, we have a film. We're going to release that film. And the film has a minute missing from it.
Yeah.
Like, do you think we're babies? Like, what is this?
The backstory, of course, FBI Director Kash Patel, who was on Rogan's show last month, promising to release everything that the administration could. But Patel has since faced blowback from Trump supporters after the DOJ earlier this month released a memo confirming that Epstein had died by suicide and that there was no evidence the financier had a client list that could lead to more prosecution. So, John Heilman, you're our Manosphere correspondent, and I wanted to get your sense as to why you think this is a rift. We know that the Epstein conspiracy theories really erupted on the right, and President Trump, for the first time, has been unable to sort of put it back in the box. Like, these people, Rogan, Schulz, the like, they're not letting it go.
Yeah, they're not idiots. And a lot of those guys like Andrew Schulz and Joe Rogan are really have been portrayed as being MAGA media. They're not really MAGA media. They ended up siding with the president in 2024. You know, famously, Joe Rogan was a Bernie Sanders guy for a long time. And you can listen to Andrew Schulz. He talks about how much he likes Zohran Mamdani. They are anti-establishment. They are anti-elite. And they are not about Rogan, but if you listen to that Andrew Schulz podcast with Ezra Klein the other day, he's done with Trump. I mean, he's finished. He's moving on. He thinks Trump is now, to Andrew Schultz's mind, at least as I listened to that 2.5 hour podcast, he basically is like, Trump has revealed himself to be just another elite politician who's covering up for the rich and famous. And that is, of course, the huge political risk.
I still don't think he's done with him. And I think that if it's to the point where we really have this thing where people are going to keep on acting like they're done with Trump and the Republicans, we'll probably just have to bomb another place and then fake save them. We've done this stuff before. Bill Clinton bombed some lab in Africa when he was dealing with his Monica Lewinsky issues. I don't even think it was just one lab. We do things like this, so I hope we don't. Allegedly, I hope we don't have to do that. But if it gets out of hand, trust me, they'll figure it out. And I don't think this is going to hurt them in the midterms either.
For Trump, he has misread his core constituency and what they want and what he stoked from the very beginning. And I will say, as we come back around, I agree that the prospect, the only reason you're going down having Todd Blanche go down and talk to Ghislaine Maxwell this way is at least if a pardon is on the table. That's what she's going to want. There's no reason to send Todd Blanche down there if you're not going to have that conversation. And if they give her a pardon now, it will do nothing but make this worse. Because again, the Andrew Schultzes and Joe Rogans and many of the people on the base, including people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, will see that for what it is. She's the woman who knows everything, and she's going to be given a pardon now with Mike Johnson saying she should have a life sentence. She should have worse than a life sentence. If she's given a pardon to stand up and say Donald Trump did nothing wrong, no one in Trump's base or in the manosphere or anyone else who wanted to have clarity about Jeffrey Epstein, no one is going to believe it. It's going to make Trump.
That's a lie. People talk themselves out of everything. I have learned this from the JFK files, right? Oh yeah, because those came out actually under Biden, the real meat and potatoes. People know who killed JFK. People do know. The reality is, we know who ended the plot to end JFK and why it happened and what came out of that. I can't say it on YouTube because I'll get in trouble. You go ahead and do the calculations that you need to do. And by people knowing that, you still have people who looked the other way and tried to find, Russia. They were trying to bring up Cuba. They were trying to bring up everything else except for Ben Shapiro's favorite country. So, once I saw, I was like, oh, JFK is really going to be, oh my gosh. And then when I saw people nuance and just talk their way out of the reality and moved on like tomorrow was another day, I was like, oh, never mind. I was like, there's nothing that will come out now from the past that will wake people up to what's been really going on with our country. Because all roads lead back to a certain place. I don't know. That's why some of this, I'm like, I don't even know why this is such a big deal. Nobody, if they did find out the absolute truth about it, nobody would do anything. Nothing would be done. They might as well just release everything.
Look even guiltier. Yeah. Another potentially vast misreading of what he has unleashed here.
Yeah, that would be an extraordinary firestorm. And Ali Vitale, let's go to you. You cover the Hill.
Actually, no, I want to see if Greasy Hair. They didn't let Al Sharpton talk. Oh, damn, he didn't even make it to the. Okay, that's good. He doesn't have to talk. We'll listen to a little bit of what she has to say.
Let's talk about Mike Johnson, who, for so much of his political career has prided himself, no daylight between speakership and the White House. But yet now, for a week, 2 weeks now, he has been willing to break with Trump on the matter of Epstein. What is that reflective of? Is that his constituents and, frankly, his caucus talking to him about it?
Yeah, it's the realities of the conference, right? Because no daylight works when you're passing legislation that's in lockstep with the White House. Every Republican wants to say that they notched a legislative win. But on this, there's a much more complicated dynamic, especially when these folks have to go home and talk to the very same voters that for years they...
okay, so this must be about Mike Johnson saying that, she shouldn't be pardoned and Maxwell should have a life sentence. Okay, so... that's just lip service, guys. Come on. If Maxwell was pardoned, Speaker Mike Johnson would say, I'm not really with it, but I stand with the president and everything. We know the talk, right? We know the talk, okay? Speaker Mike Johnson shut down Congress when he had to actually allow a vote to pass about releasing the files. And instead of choosing whether he would allow the vote to pass or not, just shut down Congress so he ain't had to deal with it. This is just welcome to America. I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye.